Hey now, happy vibes, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast where I believe in spreading killer vibes that light you up and give you that kick in the ass to craft the life you wish to live. This sacred space is dedicated to the lovers of all things business, travel, and lifestyle. Hey, it's about time you get the scoop on the latest vibes, so let's get to it. So before I get into who I'm having in my podcast today, I want to tell you a little bit about her before I present her to you. So I met my amazing guest for today. I think it was more than 2 years ago. She may know a little bit better. I don't keep up with the years too well. When I joined a gym here locally in the Heights, it was called Sweat 1000. It's still Sweat. Is it Sweat? It's one Sweat now, right?
Correct.
One sweat. So it's just Sweat.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. I noticed from all the trainers that I knew you had the most amazing energy. And I'm an energy person. Like, I am attracted to good energy. So, like, if there's energy, I'm like, I need to know more about her. Of course, Abby is, like, so spunky. She's beautiful. She's so sweet and super, super supportive. For all of us that go and work out in this high-intensity place, like, one thing that we really, really appreciate is support because it's not easy. And you're a founding trainer there, but, you came across as just super welcoming, just, welcomed Rusk and I into the whole family of Sweat, and it was just so, so, so amazing. But I recognized that you were a type A woman right away. And for me, like, I'm attracted to those girls because I want to know more about them. I want to know how they fucking keep it together. Like, how do you do it? I'm the same way, but I want to know from you, like, how do you do it? So for me, getting to know you and knowing more about you, I mean, like, oh my God, like, super, super amazing. So you won back-to-back decathlon.
Correct. Decathlon.
I practiced that word earlier. Decathlon championships in 2018 and 2019, Abby.
Yes.
So my guest is Abby Liu, and she's a competitor. She's a high-intensive competitor. D10, tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so D10 is it was first, it's called the Fittest Man on Wall Street, founded by Dave Maloney. Yes.
Okay.
The Fittest Man on Wall Street, the competition started in New York. And he branched out into different locations. There's one in San Francisco, Chicago, but he made his way down to Houston.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that from when you do competitions like this, there's always a component of charity.
Correct.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that and why that's so important to you. And because I noticed that that's a huge component of what you do for your life and how you lead your life. You always lead it by service and by purpose. And that's something that I'm also super attracted to because I really love women who don't only just go out there to do things, they do it with the purpose and a reality in the back of their mind that something is bigger and greater than themselves. And that's super awesome. You went to the University of Texas, you competed there, so you did you also played tennis for 3.5 years.
Correct.
How is that, by the way?
It was one of the most invigorating experiences I could ever ask for. If I could do it again, I would do it all over again.
Yeah. So when I'm saying Abby is, top-notch competitive, she is competing at all levels, not only in sports and not only in fitness, but in life. Like, she has a business. She leads a Montessori school, which I believe you inherited from your mother. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And when this gym was starting, you were one of the founding trainers.
Correct.
So, I mean, not only is she amazing, but she's a leader, and she supports women in leadership positions, and I can tell that. I can tell definitely about that. And so I'm so excited that you're here today because you know what? The topic that I have for us today was a topic that came to me because I was reading an article that talks about fitness influencers. And when I go to my Instagram account, I'm always looking at you because I'm like, okay, inspire me, Abby, today. Like, you're so inspirational, and you come across as super authentic and genuine, which is something that doesn't happen very often with influencers, especially in the fitness community. So for me, it was like, you know what? I need to talk to you a little bit more because you may know a little bit of the behind the scenes. Okay, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about the truth behind fitness influencers.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready for this.
Yes. We're going to put some people on blast. Mind and body connection with modern day fitness influencers. It's changed over the years. So today it's so heavy on the social media. Right? It's so heavy on all of the different platforms that we have, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So all of that. But ultimately it has an impact on our psyche as a society, as women. You know, some of us don't, I guess we'll never reach those levels, but I really want to know, like, what is your perspective on those levels and like what it takes to get to those levels? Because you are at the highest level. You really are one of those women that lives and breathes excellence in everything that you do. And that's extremely intense. That's stressful. There's a mental component that I want to talk to you about that, because not anybody can get to those levels. I mean, we can go over to your Instagram account. Can you share it with us just so that we know a little bit more?
Oh yeah, it's definitely, it's Abby Liu Fit.
So it's sort of like, you know, you see it and you're like, oh, she's got it all. She's got it all together. And do you, Abby?
I would say so. I would say that fitness has definitely trumped my entire life. And through all of the ups and downs and the competitions, it's really shaped who I am today. And it translates to all facets of life.
Yeah, and I want to share a little bit of that with you because, you know, wellness in today's society, it's kind of like covered up by like, oh, you should work out because it makes you feel better. But a lot of women, and I know a lot of women like my age in their mid 40s, they're not working out necessarily to look better, but because it regulates our hormones, because it's, you know, mental health for us. It gives us self-care away from our kids, away from our jobs, away from our husbands, you know, because a lot of that is just a lot of external stress. So for us, in that sense, it's not just about looking beautiful and fit. It's more about like, I need to work out so that my mind is clear, and I'm not, you know, so stressed out and such a bitch to my kids all the time, you know, because we can be a little bitchy. Oh, yes, it is. So, what is fitness to you? What is fitness for you?
Right. So, fitness is honestly, it's a very simple term, and I would categorize that as anything that is something active for your body. It could be in a means of occupation. It could be in a form of a sport, or it could be in a form of activities of daily living. So, for example, you know, doing a chore, for example, vacuuming the floor or mowing the lawn is a form of fitness. Yeah. Anything that you're doing to put any exertion or force on your body and something that you're doing that's out of the couch.
When did you get started on this path, on this journey of fitness at the level that you do it? Because you're an every single day girl, and you travel, and even when you're traveling, you're hiking. I'm like, this girl is hiking. Oh my God. So why every day, and when did that start for you, and why is it so important to you?
Okay, so it really started. It was gained at a very early age. I was born here in Alabama. My parents are immigrants from China. But my dad took us, me and my sister, I have a twin sister, her name is Amy, but it really started when we were early age, around 4 years old. I just remember vividly that my dad would take us to the track every single day, and we'd leave it by example as well. He would run a mile with us almost every single day.
Wow.
And I think that running has allowed me to build up and to give me the skills to perform other sports.
Okay. Right. For example, what other sports do you do?
Well, running gives you know, it's the most phenomenal thing of all sports. I feel like it gives you good cardiovascular endurance. So through running, I've learned tennis. Now I've competed in almost everything that you could possibly name. I've ran marathons. I've competed in decathlons. I've competed in CrossFit. I play golf now. Last year, I did scuba diving. I got scuba dive certified.
Okay.
So literally any type of sport.
Is it for you as a is it a way of therapy for you?
It's both. I would say it's therapeutic, and also it gives me that adrenaline, the endorphins.
Okay. So you're constantly chasing the endorphins.
Correct.
What would happen if you didn't have them one day and you didn't work out? What happens to you?
Well, that's a tough question to ask. I just, at the moment, I can't imagine what it would be like to be sidelined. But I would say I would have to find other means of hobbies, something that would bring me joy and that peace. But as of right now, chasing that high, it's a sense of elation for me, that euphoric moment when I do achieve something. It just brings me so much happiness and a sense of achievement.
Yeah. Do you find that euphoria in other things, or is it mostly with fitness and competitions?
I find euphoria through fitness and by traveling.
Okay.
Fitness and traveling, I feel like, go hand in hand. Every time I do go travel, I want to climb the highest mountain peaks or dive down into the ocean to see the beauties of the world. Last year I went to the cenotes to dive in the Caribbean Sea. And it was just that sense of euphoria where, you can find beauty in everything.
Yeah. And so when someone doesn't chase that feeling all the time, what's the best way you can explain it to someone who wants to maybe, try to become a little more in tune with their bodies, or maybe challenge their bodies to a more higher level? Because some of us, we know we have the capacity, we just never challenge ourselves the way you challenge yourself, or the way your friends or your circle of friends.
Right.
So what could you say is something, maybe like a tip, maybe some way that we can get started and we can that it's achievable? Because I mean, we look at you guys and we're like, oh, we're never doing that. Like, we're never climbing that mountain. Like, that's impossible. But you can give us maybe one pointer that might help for us to say, oh, we can do this.
Right. Well, I think the most basic start is to find your intentions of why you're doing something.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. And for me, the intentions of fitness, everything that I do through fitness has a purpose. It's not just blatantly going out there just to run laps with no purpose. Running yesterday, I went running at Memorial Trail, 3 miles. My intentions was to keep my lung capacity up, my heart rate up, to focus on my breathing. I knew I was struggling at one point. It's in the Houston heat and in the humidity. It's exhausting. It's excruciating. But I envisioned the end result, and I saw that, and I overcame it. Through golf, it's not just hitting a white golf ball. It's about chasing perfection. It's how you can work on your biomechanics every single time and work on your stroke to get that perfect aim and to the hole.
And the feeling when you achieve that is something you're always thinking about.
Yes, it's captivating to me. It's always something that I can always improve on. Even tennis, hitting years of tennis balls, there's always something that I can improve on. Hitting the ball clean, or working on my footwork to make sure that it's, I'm working on my agility, I'm working on my speed, that I'm not slowing down.
Abby, is this because of your upbringing, or is this something that's ingrained in you? As a young girl, you've always felt like a need to just go to the next level, go to the next level. You achieve one level, you go to the next one. Is it something that you grew up with, or is it something that you've just decided for yourself you were going to do it?
Well, I think it definitely was brought up from my parents.
Right, because we hear tiger parents are super,
absolutely.
That's the big term, for Asian parents.
Yes.
So was that applicable for you?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say, oh my gosh, my parents are definitely tiger parents. But the thing that I really do appreciate about my parents is, they helped me find my identity. They helped me stand out, not only as an Asian American. We get this common stereotype in society that we're labeled as the
excellent minority, or the perfect minority.
Correct. And only through academia. And they knew that, there's more to us than just academia. And so that's when my father also introduced me to tennis and track, because he wanted us to be well-rounded individuals.
Did you ever rebel against such intensity?
Oh, yes,
and
definitely.
Such a heavy-handed way of raising you?
Oh, yes. There's times that I didn't want to give it up. Every single day, after work, he would take us to the tennis courts, and we were out there for hours, my sister and I. He mainly focused on me, though, but we were out there for hours. If it was meant to hit 50 balls in the court without making any errors, he would stay there until the cows came home.
That's very tiger parent, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ever feel jealous of the kids that didn't have that kind of parenting and had such a lackadaisical parenting, and more like, they get to have more fun. They get to go out and do more things, and they're not practicing all day, every day like I am.
Right.
Was that something that you encountered as you were growing up? It's like maybe a middle schooler, like when those things start to happen and like are more clear for you?
Yes, there's definitely times I wish that I went to dances. The last, during senior year, the only dance that I went to was prom. I've never went to the movies in high school. It was just purely sports and also playing an instrument, playing the violin. Yeah.
Did it hinder your social life, by the way?
I would say so, but I kept focused, and I found, the end goal was to get a college scholarship and play for a bigger university. But just looking back, I'm so grateful for my parents because they gave me the skills that are permanent for a lifetime. And you look at people now when especially when the pandemic hit, there's so many people that wanted to play tennis out on the courts because, social distancing was the thing.
Yeah.
And I saw just so many people wanting to play tennis. And when you go to Topgolf, you see so many people that want to play golf.
Yeah.
But their biomechanics and just the strokes is just, the technique is just not there.
Yeah. So definitely start early if you're going to start doing
ingrain
anything.
your kids from an early age, the discipline and the work ethic.
Yeah. And when you do have kids, you plan to approach parenting in the same way that your parents did?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do. The top-down approach from an early age, I would say it's definitely going to happen. I think at an early age, children shouldn't be allowed a choice. It's, of course, if you ask any 4 or 5-year-old what they want to do, they would want to play with their Barbies, or they would want to go play with their friends.
Yeah.
So we need to.
Yeah, and that's something that's really interesting because I know when we got married and we had kids, we said, our kids are going to come and live our life. We're not going to adjust ourselves to them.
Correct.
Like they're going to come to our life the way who we are and what we do, because so many parents were just adjusting their whole social life, their whole circle, their family, everything was around their kids. And I'm like, you're giving your kid way too much credit, and he's a kid. He's a baby. Like seriously, like they were putting so much into that. But I think that's a little bit of like an immigrant parent thing. Yeah, we were both kids of immigrants. He's a kid of immigrants from Europe and the Middle East, and I'm, my parents are Mexican, so we did have a lot of that. But I'm glad that we did, because our kids now are like super good, well-behaved, well-established, generous, good-thinking kids, because they're not spoiled,
Yes.
But it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard because
hard.
you're raising the kids in a society that doesn't see that anymore, doesn't see the value in discipline and getting up, doing your bed, waking up early. Most of my friends' kids, wake up at noon. That would never happen with my boys. I mean, my boys have to be up, early and like do something.
Right. But as a minority, it was really ingrained in us that, as a minority and someone who isn't Caucasian, that we had to be best of the best of all things, whether it's in school or whether it's in sports or, it's whether in debate or.
Yeah, don't be basic and don't be mediocre.
Correct. Yes, and that's the mentality that I grew up with, and it's carried on throughout life until now.
And I think one of the things that and I think as friends, as you and I friends, we connect that way because I can see that's important to you. Like being basic is not what Abby Liu is. She is not basic at all. She is beyond that. And so for me, as a woman who's always achieving more and doing more, for me, I'm motivated by that. Like I'm inspired by that because I want to know how other women do it, and I'm like thinking, it's hard, but I wouldn't be anything else if I could. I would most definitely not be regular. Like if I'm not being a good mom, okay, where the hell am I going to fix it? If I'm not being a good wife for my man, like where do I need to go back and fix that? Where am I not giving him enough sex? Am I not, cooking enough for him? My husband, so you know how it is. But it's like that for me. Like at what point in my life am I lagging? And if I am lagging, okay, girl, get it together and pull it together. Yes. Not because I feel like this need to show off, but it's a need for me as a personal. It's personal.
It's all personal. Correct.
I need to be that girl. I need to be that person. And some people get it and some people don't. Right. So that's why I want to talk to you a little bit about, social media and a little bit of that, because I think a lot of women, see influencers as a little bit of like body shamers. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they're so perfect. They look gorgeous. They look beautiful. Give me a little bit of why. That's not body shaming.
No, it's not.
Okay,
it shouldn't be.
Tell me
shaming. Why. Again, everyone has their own journeys. It's not about putting people down. But if you do look into the life of a fitness influencer, It's so much more than behind what you see. There's so much more.
Tell me what it is.
Oh my goodness. It's day in and day out. It's a level of sustainability every single day, whether you want to do it or whether you don't. But it's getting up and pushing yourselves to an uncomfortable state.
People don't like to be uncomfortable.
Correct.
How do you embrace being uncomfortable?
Okay, so I've done a lot. I've obviously going through sports psychology through college and reading a lot of books about mental fortitude and how to achieve that. One of the books that really resonate with me is called Stealing Fire by Stephen Kotler. But it's about shutting down your prefrontal cortex, and through training you find when we hit a wall or something that it's hard, for example, if I'm running a 400-meter run, this is one of the events in the decathlon, I know that every single inch of me is going to be burning. My arms, my limbs, my lungs, my legs, it's all burning. But through that pain, you have to find that threshold and that wall and push through that pain, and you find this state of ecstasy. You find this altered state of mind, and that's what I really focus on when I'm training. Can I push through that burn? If I'm lifting weights in the gym, can I push through that extra rep, that extra set? It's just all mentality.
Okay, and how do you prepare your mental? How does your mental play such a big part? Can I ask you this? Is it something that you exercise every day and develop over time? Or do we already have it in us? We just need to tap into that mindset.
Correct. I think every single person in us has the capability. Another book that I read recently it's called Relentless, or also, but it's called Can't Hurt Me. He's a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, Navy SEAL guy.
David Goggins. But he says that 40% of us we only tap into 40% of our capabilities. We don't even know what's beyond our capabilities.
Right.
And so many people, when we hit a threshold, we automatically stop. We don't want to experience pain. Yeah. And I think it's an innate habit and an innate drive within us. The path of least resistance. If we were to get by through the most minimum effort and gain the most maximum results, every single person on this earth would want to choose that. Nothing is given, but yes.
But you think ultimately all of us have it, we just don't tap into it?
Correct.
Okay. But you know what? Sometimes you will get these excuses that, I'm not like you and don't expect me to be like you. It's the same thing with the influencers online. Okay, you follow them, but you're like, oh yeah, girl, but you're not eating. Yeah, but there's a lot of that sarcasm, a lot of cynicism, because some of these girls are living their life at another level, at another plane, at another set. But why the hate? That's what I don't understand. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of body positivity, I want to be fat. Like, what's wrong with that? But I think ultimately in our encountering social media, we have that free will. We have that ability to connect with the things that we want to connect with and disconnect with the things that we don't want to disconnect with, right? Mm-hmm. So if for me, you're inspiring me and what you're doing lifts me up, I'm going to follow you and I'm going to be there for you. I'm like, oh yeah, girl, yeah, keep going, do your thing, right? But I think what happens a lot of times is a lot of influencers don't really give us the authentic, real, life story. A lot of them are like, no, well, I eat a lot and I just work out. Abby, tell me that's not really what's happening, because I've seen you, girlfriend.
Correct.
I've seen it. They're not eating like the guys do.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll just be honest.
Nutrition.
Yes, nutrition is so important. There's really no secret formula the formula is so obvious. There's no diet, there's no pill, there's no surgery that can make you give that perfect body. It is definitely just diet and exercise. It really comes down simple as that.
Really?
Yes. Diet and exercise.
I'm hoping you're giving me some secret sauce. What's your secret sauce?
But again, it's day in and day out.
Consistency,
discipline, dedication.
Which is something I know about you. It's consistent, it's persistent, and it's nonstop.
Correct.
Because you that's who you are.
Right.
Do people, I don't know, maybe this is just from the outside looking in, do people post things on your social like, oh, here you are trying hard again, to show how fucking amazing you are and how wonderful you are. And look at the fucking trips you go on, who do you think you are? Because I'll get messages sometimes like, oh, you're back traveling? Girl, didn't you just get back? What are you doing? You're traveling again. I'm like, yeah, I am.
Right.
I am.
Right. And for the most part, I would say that I experience good positive comments and feedback, I comments such as, I live vicariously through you, or, geez, you do it all, or, yes, you're traveling again. But, my comment to them is, if I could do it, you can do these same things too. Nothing is holding you back. I do have multiple sides.
We hold ourselves back, Abby.
Yes.
We are our worst sabotagers.
Right.
We are. The minute we decide that we're not doing it, we're not going to do it,
right.
But
yes.
the minute we decide we are going to do it, we will do it. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, it really is up to us, right?
Right.
Each one of us has that capacity to say yes to ourselves or say no to ourselves.
Yes.
We allow either fear or doubt to infiltrate our mind, and then we're doomed when that happens. Mm-hmm. It's pushing through that doubt. Correct. And pushing through that fear. Mm-hmm. Do you find that when you are doing all of this and you're working out and going at the intensity that you go at, do you ever feel like maybe you need to slow down and stop at some point?
I think the only time when it's a signal for me to stop is when I'm feeling, really fatigued, or when I do get sick. But other than that, every single day, again, is focusing on the purpose and the reason why I'm working towards something is intentional, to be better at something every single day, whether it's learning something or building another skill or being faster or working on my biomechanics. It's always perfecting something. There's always a sense of purpose.
Is there a little bit, now I'm going to be a little catty.
Yes,
so,
be
catty.
I
want you to answer this, is there a little bit of you ladies that are, super fit and fitness influencers? And I know that you don't call yourself that. I know maybe you don't say that to yourself. You just live your life, because I can tell that's what you really do. You're really doing what you like to do. Mm-hmm. I don't see like an agenda behind what you do. You have fun, you have a good time, and you post it. And there's other influencers that are out there with an agenda. They're like, making sure that, they're selling all the time, or selling some program, or selling some protein shake, whatever. I know that you do ads, but they're very organic to you, and you'll only do them when they matter to you, right? And
yes.
they're and you do them. But we notice from a lot of other influencers that a lot of them do it for the money, and they do it for the brand, whatever. Like, you want to make money, that's not the issue. That's not a big, whatever you want to do. But what I'm wondering is, behind the scenes, do you all kind of sometimes talk shit behind each other? Like, can you see what she did? Like, that. Or like, she's not, being authentic to her brand anymore. She's, I'm wondering, is there like a little subculture of influencers and fitness ladies that are just like keeping tabs on each other? Be honest.
I really don't think so. For me,
maybe others, not you, but other women do that.
I would say others, trying to outdo each other to get the best next deal, or, the next brand who can sponsor them if it's for personal gain.
Yeah.
But for me, I just focus on my page. And I think that the underlying reason of why I do what I post is, again, it's everybody goes through a traumatic experience. And for me, it was the loss of my mother.
Yeah.
Tell
me a little bit about her.
Yes. She was such an incredible woman. She spoke 3 languages. She was multifaceted in every single way. She was a mom. She was a business owner. She was an entrepreneur. She was so kind and loving and genuine towards us. And unfortunately, cancer plagued her. Just watching her, 2015, she was plagued with ovarian cancer, and it spread to her lungs. Wow. And it ultimately spread to her brain, and we lost her due to acute respiratory failure.
How long was she sick for?
Well, this 10 years prior, she was plagued with ovarian cancer, and it came back.
What was it caught at early stage or was it late stage?
Yeah, it was a pretty late stage, stage 4 of ovarian cancer.
Wow, and that's usually, stage 4. Usually
Right,
don't get a lot
but
of
she
that.
was a fighter, and
That's
she showed me
amazing.
that resiliency.
And do you feel like you live your life so that you live for her as well?
Oh, yes, definitely. I would say because of her, she gives me life. I honestly, I would represent myself as the phoenix that just rose out of the fire. Because of her death, it gave me life, and it gave me so much more meaning to it. Just watching her, with vials of serpentine tubes and dripping down her veins, and just watching her helplessly, like I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But it's just a reminder to me that I didn't want to live life like that. And to me, again, health is the most important things. When you can have everything you have in life, blessed with a business, and everything.
Even money doesn't buy you
nothing
health.
could buy. And
Right.
one of the things was, when I finished my graduate degree, my master's, she wanted to travel the world with my dad. And unfortunately, she never did. Never did. And so that's why I told myself from then and on, and I'm not going to live that same life. I know work is work, and I need to prioritize my business and work, but I choose to live. And that's why I do what I do, fitness, the journeys that I go on. I want to experience it all before I pass away. Going to the highest mountain peaks, going to see the underworld, just, learning every skill that I can possibly tap into, because I know I'm fully capable of it. And that's one of the reasons I post is really also to inspire other people as well. If you can do these, if I can do it, you are totally capable of doing these things.
Yeah.
And traveling is, you can live it could be very cost effective. It doesn't have to be luxurious. But
yeah, and you figure out ways to make it happen when you want it to happen.
Correct.
Yeah, I was brought up in a very low socioeconomic family, but we were so happy. But my mom always had money for travel.
Yes.
Even when we couldn't afford maybe like the best hotels or anything, she never said no for us to go somewhere and like do it. And she always had money for, we wanted to go out, have ice cream at night. We would go have ice cream, all 4 of us. She had 4 kids, and my dad was the only one provider. But she would make it happen. Yes. So for me, I always think, people always tell me, well, you guys have all this money to travel. I'm like, I've been traveling with my parents. Maybe it was just Mexico. Maybe it wasn't across the world. But my mom made it happen. And she made it happen on like very little money. Because she wanted that for us. She didn't want us to feel like we couldn't do that. We couldn't go somewhere just because we didn't have money.
Right.
And obviously people prioritize what makes what they want. That's where you put your money on.
Right.
You'll have people with cars and fancy houses, but then they're complaining that they don't go anywhere.
Yeah. So if you do look at my page, everything is outside, because yes, that's the nature.
You're living life
is what brings
to
me
the
happiness.
fullest.
It's not materialistic possessions. It's being outdoors, the nature, the vibes, the energy that it brings me.
I can see that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like you feed off of the earth.
Oh, definitely. I'm
The
a
earth.
Taurus.
Yeah, you're very
So I'm an earthy sign,
Yeah,
yes.
like my husband, he's super, super down to earth. Like he doesn't do like high hypotheticals and up in the sky, pie in the sky stuff. He's like, no, bring it down, bring it down for me, because I'm not doing that. Yeah, he's the same way. That's why when he travels, he likes to go to places where like it's cold and he can feel the cold in his face. Or like, he's out in the water and the sea. Like he's very earthy too.
Yes, we're very central creatures.
Very, yeah.
So the water,
Very much so. But I think that also, that also helps you as you grow up as a person to see things in a really beautiful perspective too, because you see how other people live in other parts of the world. That's why we take our kids everywhere we go, because I always wanted them to know, you guys are just super, super fortunate that you live here. Abby, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that, you and I have conversations. You're a single girl, I'm a married girl, but I'm always thinking, okay, do y'all single girls work out way harder to look super good for the guys? Okay. I know, because I'm married. I don't have to work out that much because I'm already married. But I mean, you guys are competing for men.
Yes, survival of the fittest.
Oh my God, survival of the fittest. And I noticed a lot of my single girls are like super fucking gorgeous and like, oh my God, like super fit and like on top. Are y'all fighting for that one lion in the jungle? What's going on? Tell me the truth.
So yes, I will definitely be honest. I would say aesthetics and the outside appearance, I would give it a 50%. I would say 50% of it is about the outer appearance, and the other 50% would be about your virtues and your character. But, you know, I talked to this with from a girl's perspective and from a guy's perspective. One of my girlfriends that I had brunch with one day, you know, she was giving this example of shiny doors and doors, you know.
Right.
You know, there's different types of doors, and you have 4 doors. One of them is polished and glistening, and it's beautiful. The other doors are just dull, and, you know, it's like a house, you know, selling houses. You want the best physical appearance that it could possibly look. Do
you think the guys take that much consideration in how they look as much as the girls do? I mean, the beauty industry is huge. Makeup, plastic surgery, fitness gyms, I mean, clothing lines. Do the guys put that much effort into looking good for these beautiful, gorgeous lionesses in the jungle?
I would say physical appearance is a large component. Again, when you know, when you open that door, you want to find that shiniest door, and you open it up and you peek inside, and then you get to know what's inside of that door.
And if it's not good, you close it?
Yeah, you close it and you move on to the next one.
But what if, Abby, this is just me asking a question. What if, you know what, maybe the door isn't so shiny, maybe it's a little matte, maybe it's a little worn, you know, there's a little years on that door, but there's some goodness inside.
Yes.
There's a big freaking heart. There's generosity of spirit, compassion for people, you know. Are y'all gorgeous ladies gonna give that guy a chance, that door a chance?
I would hope so. I really would hope so.
I don't know. I don't see it happening very much, though.
But I think
that list is super tight. I think y'all have that checklist super tight. I'm like, no.
You know, but from a man's perspective, I talking to a male friend, you know, he would tell me that if he was at a bar and the most beautiful girl, beautiful face with the most loveliest personality was at a bar, and he looked at her and she was not in shape. She was bigger than he would like. He wouldn't even turn around and talk to her.
Really?
Yes, it's that unfortunate.
Yeah.
So I think physical attraction drives, you know, getting to know someone first, but it's appearance, because unfortunately when we look at someone, again, we associate fatness and, you know, with sloth and laziness, and it really dictates how you take care of yourself, you know, lazy, undisciplined, the way you eat, your behavior, your habits.
And it translates to many parts of you, many different aspects
all facets of your life. It just shows somebody's life, a glimpse of their life, what it's like.
Yeah, you know what though? But, you know, I'm going to give you just the other side and the other perspective is sometimes men who are so, I guess, very driven, very ambitious, sometimes their health and their fitness takes a little bit of a backseat. But I don't think they're not forgiven as much. You know, I don't think, or women don't forgive the guys because, you know, they're chasing the money, they're chasing the next project, they're chasing the next, closing the next deal. Maybe their body just doesn't look, you know, perfect or gorgeous or amazing, but maybe they're like, you know, they've got other priorities. Do girls stop to think maybe it could be that?
I wouldn't say so. I would, again, if fitness trumped your entire life, or you put fitness in priority, I think everything else follows. So when you're waking up every single day, you're bound to be more productive. Your energy flows through all the people that you touch. The leadership, the confidence would affect others. You're less prone to be sick. I think it translates again to all facets of your life, taking on the next challenge, the next project, because you're always going to be up for that next challenge due to your level of fitness.
Yeah, I get that. But there has to be a little flexibility. I'm just saying, as I know older men, you know, I know older guys who are super driven, high achieving, big old teddy bears. They just don't look perfect. But dude, I would be married to one of them if I wanted to. Like they're like freaking like there for me. They're going to support me in my goals and my business and my purpose. They get it because they know how driven I am too. They know, they can see ambition a mile away from me because they know that. But they don't look great. They don't look necessarily, you know, thin or necessarily, you know, buff. But let me tell you, they're going to be your ride or die.
That's right.
They're going to be your ride or die. So sometimes we got to throw in a little flexibility in there. And they might be inspired by you. And they might be inspired by your level of fitness or level of nutrition.
And I'm
totally,
open to that as well,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's my little tip for my single girls.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and I'm open for it.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I mean, you know what? Sometimes, you know, there's other things. And like for me, if my man supports my goals and supports my ambitions, to me, that's really like, you know, what I really, really need and really love about it. Abby, let me ask you something about eating disorders. Do you think that a little bit of what happens in the background of these fitness influencers is a little bit of eating disorder happening, a little bit of body dysmorphia?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say it's a real thing. These pathophysiological manifestations lead to, you know, objectification of your body and just really being very harsh on yourself. And I could say I've experienced it as well. So I've competed in 2 bodybuilding shows, and they're bikini shows. Okay. But it's coming down to a small percentage of fat. You know, you're down to 5 to 10% body fat.
And what does it take to get to that, by the way?
Oh, man, it's rigorous discipline every single day. You know, it's the social life, you know, you have to monitor yourself, you know, on things that you can eat. You can't drink at all, or, you know, the water intake.
Did you find that it was worth it?
Oh, yes. So one misconception as well in terms of these bodybuilding shows, most people think it's, you know, it's for aesthetic. Oh, you know, she wants the attention. She wants to look good in bikini and flaunt her ass and her assets. But really, it's not about that. For me, it's about, again, personal attainment, the level of discipline that I know that I could do. Okay. You know, even if I was to gain weight or, you know, if I was to have a baby and afterwards get back into that same shape, I know the level of discipline that it will take. But I would say that I experienced body dysmorphia.
I mean, because what I've read is, you know, a lot of these women, like, they lose their periods.
Correct, and I've gone through that. I've went through amenorrhea, you know.
Right, and so that affects fertility.
Correct.
A lot of your hormones are imbalanced.
Correct, and I've experienced that as well. My T3 and T4 hormones were off. You know, that's.
How long did it take you to get back from something like that?
I would say it took me about 2 years to get me back, but you know, I was.
But
so
you would
hard.
Do it again?
If I was after having kids, I would say maybe, you know, not to the certain the killer level that I was before, but I would go through the same eating habits. You know, I would eat multiple meals, small portions. I would drink a gallon or a gallon and a half of water a day, and again, the lifting the weights and the cardio, I would still do it.
Do you find that you may not do something because you don't feel like you're looking your best? Like some girls won't take pictures. Like I deal with a lot of, you know, with my photographers and a lot of the women that I work with, they refuse to take certain photos because they don't look a certain way, or they didn't lose the weight they wanted to lose for their photos, or they didn't go to the party because they're going to see people and those people are going to think they're fat or they're unkept. Have you found yourself having that dilemma too?
Well, I would say before I would probably, you know, again, going through body dysmorphia, I was very harsh on myself because, you know, looking a certain type of way, I saw all the muscle striations and fitting so well and feeling so sexy and confident, being so lean. I knew that, you know, walking around, I was top 10% or top 1% of the population looking that lean. And I did feel, you know, really comfortable in my skin. But after the competition was really when it hit me because, you know, you do tend to gain weight. You're introducing more carbs back. You're not as toned as before. And so there were days every single day I would step onto the scale and see what I weighed. And and being harsh on caloric intake. Well, I can't eat this, I can't drink. But nowadays, when I go out with you, and I could eat a piece of cake to celebrate your birthday, or drink now, I'm not so harsh on myself.
Did it take you a while to get to that point, though?
Yes, it was a point where I went to the doctor. I had a physical done, and yes, I realized my hormone was definitely off balance. But yes, the body fat, and she told me, this was one of the most life-changing moments as well too, was she told me that if I was to continue this journey of being at such a low body fat, that I wasn't be able to have kids, because my uterine lining thinning was just too thin, and I wouldn't be able to carry kids. And so from that point, I feel like I needed to give more grace to my body.
Forgive yourself a little bit more for not being at the level that you're accustomed to.
At such a low body fat and walking like this. But again, we have to understand that this level is not sustainable.
And we have to do a lot of mental talking to ourselves, right? A lot of self-talk has to happen for us as women too, because changes happen in just month to month, And I always talk to my clients, and I'm like always thinking, well, you are who you are right now, and embrace that now. Work towards getting better and getting to the place where you feel more comfortable, but don't deny yourself the joy of doing something you love and you've always wanted to do just because you don't feel ready or perfect. Is perfection attainable, by the way?
It's perspective, it's objective, the level of perspective. If your goal was to become a Victoria's Secret model and look like, with an hourglass shape, again, perfection, it's attainable, but I think it's, again, every single day it's working towards something. And that's the beauty of it all, is the journey towards perfection.
So the progress?
Yes, the progress, day in and day out.
Wow. That's really, really good. And it's really important that we also tell people, like, when people ask us or tell me, like, how are you able to do this or that? Or how do you balance, business, moms, kids? And I always say I don't balance. I'm just going along and trying my very best to balance, but I don't think balance ever happens. I think for us, something always is falling a little bit. And for someone who has anxiety perfectionism, where I need to do everything at the highest levels, I'm constantly reminding myself that I can't do that. I can't, because I've suffered from anxiety because of that. I mean, I'm the oldest of four, and I was the one that was always taking care of my parents, and I still do.
Right.
Even on top of everything, I'm the one that still takes care of them. But that's an anxiety that I'm always constantly managing, And so for me, one of the keys is always forgiving myself for not feeling like I've achieved the highest in whatever I do, because I can't. Because I will kill myself. I will literally fall in my face, It's just not doable. And so the sooner I get over it, and guess what, people are quicker to forgive me than I am to forgive myself.
Right. Yeah, we're our own harshest critics. Definitely. Yeah. Yes.
It's been such a good conversation, Abby Liu.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are the best, and I will say it again. If anybody can give you that energy and that vibe that just embraces you with a huge warm hug, it's Miss Abby Liu.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I'm so grateful that you gave me a little bit of your time. I know you're a busy, busy lady, but your time is invaluable, and I know that, and I appreciate that very much. And I hope you enjoyed our little podcast.
Thank you, Alicia.
You're awesome. Love you. And we're going to share with everybody your links, but if you want to tell everybody where they can find you, or maybe where they can go train with you.
I teach at Sweat, mostly in the morning time at 6:30 on Wednesdays. We are opening up our second studio out in River Oaks. That will be the grand opening in August. So really excited about that. So come train with me.
Yay. And you guys, you will love her classes.
Oh, thank you so much. Again, I just want to tap into your fullest potential. We are all capable of that.
Yeah, and you leave her class feeling empowered and feeling strong and wondering how you got through it.
Mental fortitude, baby.
Mental fortitude. That's the key word. Thank you so much, Miss Abby.
Thank you, Alicia.
Love you.
Love you too.